Yo, what's up, guys? These are some games I had with G-Sen. Go ahead and check them out. There's a link in the description and the pinned comment. He kind of whoops my ass, but that kind of makes sense since he's a way higher rank than me, and that kind of brought me to wanting to talk about the competitive mindset and improving. A friend of mine that I was playing Overwatch with recently asked me how I can improve so quickly at games, and really it just kind of came down to something that's really hard to explain, which is that the more you play competitive games, the more you start to understand competitive games. That being said, as I was going through some of my fighters footage, I was able to come up with a couple of things that I noticed that I'm doing that I don't really think about doing, that I think can help everyone else. This by no means is the be-all end-all way of doing this. There's definitely things that you should look into other videos, look at other people's perspective, especially people who are better than me in many different games. I've never been like a top-tier player in any game, but I have been above average in most games that I've played. That being said, I did my notes backwards for some reason, so hopefully that doesn't get confusing. The first thing I wanted to go over is when you are trying to get better at a game, you need to always have a goal. If your goal is just to get better and then you go into games saying, I'm going to focus on being better this game, guess what? Nothing's really going to change. You need to have a goal. You need to go into practices with a goal, and you need to go in-game with a goal. If you notice in some of my videos, I'll say things like, I'm trying to focus this game on 2H'ing and punishing super dashes. I'm trying to focus this game on converting my 2Ms into combos, that sort of thing. And those are the goals you need to focus on, because improvement can't be done across the board when you don't even understand the basics. Once you get a general understanding of the basics, you can start to work towards expertise on the basics, and then after that, that's when it just becomes grinding the game. This is important for both practice and in-game, like I said. You need to go into practice thinking, what can I do in practice to help myself do something in-game? And what can I do in-game to help myself in practice? In doing this, each thing that you do, regardless of if it's practice or game, is going to lead to you being able to improve your skills. The next thing that I find to be really important is, and I am really bad at this because of trying to manage my schedule between YouTube, work, social life, and everything, is never skip practice. Every time I spend a day not playing a game, I get worse at the game. And I'm going to bet that it's pretty much true across the board for everyone. Be sure that even if you can't play the game, you go in and you just practice the mechanics. You need to feel the game. You need to be in the game. The next thing, and this is one of the most important, is finding a way to gauge your improvement. This is the reason I wanted to use G-Sen's fights with me, even though he beats me every single time. I can tell my improvement just by watching these games. When I first played against him, I didn't take a single character. Actually, I think I took it one time, and it was mostly luck. But in these fights, there's even points where I take 2 characters. This is a really effective way to me for gauging improvement, because against my other friends, it's really hard to gauge improvement because all of our skill sets are fairly similar. The next point kind of goes along with always having a goal and never skipping practice, which is you need to be able to find your weaknesses, but even more importantly, in my opinion, you need to be able to find your strengths. It's important to note that when you're trying to improve, you want to cover for your weaknesses as much as possible, and so you'll spend a ton of time on that. But if you don't spend any time practicing your strengths, then your strengths will quickly become your weaknesses. So when you have something that you know you're good at, make sure it's a part of your practice routine. When you have higher ranked or higher experienced resources like I do with Sen, you should definitely be using them. Sen's kind of become a mentor for me. Anytime I have a question or I'm not sure about something in this game or just need generally some kind of advice, I go to Sen, and typically he's happy to help. Most higher experienced and higher ranked players, they're not going to make fun of you for being worse. They're not going to be assholes. Some of them might, but if they're your friends and they're just trying to get people into the game that they love, trust me, they're going to definitely want to help you better understand the game. For team games, this is something that kind of pertains to Overwatch and the experience I've been having with my friend, which is when you're playing a team game, the most important thing to understand is the team mechanic and team understanding. It is really easy to fall into a pit of this person should be doing this and therefore we're losing. And that could be true, and that's almost always true in any team game, but it's important to understand that it's never a good idea to focus on what other people do. It's a lot better, and you will find a lot more success if you focus on what you're doing. If I, for example, am playing DPS and I feel like I can't really move out into the open, I feel like the tank's not taking space, I'm pretty much just stuck where I'm at. Instead of complaining about the tank, all I can really do is try and find a way, maybe find a character, a new playstyle that allows me to take as much advantage as possible of the position I'm in. Will I lose? Yeah, probably. But if I improve, then that's what's important. Essentially what it comes down to is the process is more important than the result. If you follow the process and you're getting better and you're doing what you need to be doing, then eventually the results will follow. You will win. You will achieve rank. It's just a lot harder to do when you're focusing on what your team is doing. Which leads me into my next point, which is mental. Everyone wants to have a good mental. It's not as easy as it sounds, though. When your mental starts getting weak, you need to take a step back. It's really, really easy to just think, well, I'm generally pretty good at keeping track of my mental, and so I'm just going to go into this next game and I'm just going to be calm. But you're probably not going to be calm, right? Like, you're probably going to go in, you're going to be mad, you're going to start yelling at people that don't deserve it. So when your mental is bad, take a break. That being said, there is a very, very, very important thing to understand about learning. This is what your brain does. Your brain learns best when it is in a state of stress. When you are having to focus, that gamer posture where you're leaning forward in your chair, that's when you're learning. That is when you want to be doing things. Try not to let it overwhelm you, because if it overwhelms you, it leads to the bad mental. But like when I'm playing against Sen, my brain is running at 100% on the game. I'm trying to figure out how to get around the things he's doing. Anyway, that's all I really had to say. If you guys have anything to add, please leave it in the comments. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys on the next one. Enjoy the fights.
You think a bear is a present for you? I am unbeatable. Stay out of my way. Where do you think you're going? Kakarot, you are finished.
Bully! Win! It's all or nothing.
Hurry up! Give me a hand here. Take this.
Fantastic!
Take this. Is that all? It's time for you to die. Why, very well. You here shall be destroyed. All right. Too slow. Give me a hand here. Attained. That is the job. I'll end your misery. It's not over yet.
I'll take care of this.
Too slow. Is that all you got? I'll end your misery. Regret that. slow. Weakling! I'll end your misery. Beat me!
You're up against me now. What? What gives? Not done yet. Here goes. Here it comes. Got you. What gives? Dad, Gohan, I'm sorry.
I'm gonna send you all to hell!
Bardock! Win! It's all or nothing!
Here it comes.
You're doing pretty
Not
well.
today.
Wait!
Here it comes. Now.
17!
What? Hey!
What a shame. You were doing pretty well.
You really don't mess with things, huh?
Here it comes!
There's no such thing as a
17!
Now!
Tuya!
Hey!
There's no such thing as a Tuya!
17!
Here it comes!
Over here!
Not today!
There's no such thing as a
Not today!
What a
Can you
shame.
beat that?
You were doing pretty well.
Too close! Thanks!
You weakling! There's no such thing as a dirty
What a shame. You were doing pretty well.
Nice try!
Too slow.
You should respect your elders! An ally who can't move! Hurry and get over here! Your turn! Let's go! Now this!
What a shame. You were doing pretty well.
Let's go! Watch this! Get over here! It's over! Alright!
What a shame. You were doing pretty well.
It's over! Beat me! I'll finish the job!
What a shame. You were doing pretty well.
You'll pay for that! Damn it all!
I'm not gonna let you get away with this! Here it comes!
Behind you! Don't underestimate the
Dad, Gohan, I'm sorry.
Do you think I would be defeated so easily?